Alright guys, so welcome to the second and last edition of our CSS coding. And today we'll not be building anything specific, we'll just be looking at some CSS property. Alright, so as usual, you have your index file and CSS file ready, and ensure it's your external CSS file is linked to your HTML file. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. Alright, as you can see here, my external CSS file is now being linked to my HTML file. Alright, so the first property we'll be looking at is the tag selector, is the selector in general, the CSS selector. Now let me show you something. Alright, so assuming I have this HTML element here, as you can see, the div, this is a div tag, this is another div tag, and this is another div tag, but then I assign to them a different styling property. Alright, this one has just the tag, while this one has the tag plus a class, while this one has tag plus an ID, and in between those div tag, these are the contents in between it. The first one has the first text, this one second, this one third. So assuming I want to style all of them using the first first CSS selector, which is the div. So let me choose the color for the text. So enter something like this color. Now let's see the output. Alright guys, as you can see, the first, second and the third are all having the same color. Now assuming I want this particular one to have a different color, the second one, I'll use the class selector which are assigned to it, and this is how we select it in CSS. Dots, we start it with dots plus the name of that class, which is box. So I'll enter something like dots box, then bring out your code block, then color. I'll choose a different color for it. So let me go with this one. Now let's see the output. Right, as you can see, that one is now having a different color. Alright, so assuming I still want the third one to have a different color, I will use the ID selector which I gave to it. Remember, it's having a different ID, and this is how we capture it in CSS. We start with the dot hash plus the name of that ID, which is box. So I'll start with dot hash box, then color. Let me give it a different color. Now let's see the output. Alright guys, as you can see, they are all having different color now, irrespective of the fact that they are all nested in between a div tag. You can access each styling through the class you assign to it or the ID. And remember, more than one div can have the same class, but one element tag can only have one ID at a time. Alright, so that is that for tag selector. Then the next CSS styling I want us to look at is the box model styling. So assuming I have this div here, this particular one, I want to style it. I want to style the box. So I can just enter the contents of the div like this is a box. Now I'll go to styling to style our box. I remember it's having a class name box, so we start the styling with a dot box. So first I'll give it a width of, let me say, 250 pixels. Then I'll give it a height of 150 pixels. In your case, you can give it any height provided that it looks good on your screen. Alright, then the background color, I can choose, let me choose green. Let me choose this one. Then padding, I'll choose 20 pixel. Then margin, I'll give it let me see 30 pixel. Then the border radius, the border line, I'll give it a 5 pixel solid. Then specify the border color. Let me choose black. Now let's see the output of what I just styled. Alright guys, so this is the results of the box we just styled. Let me explain to you one after the other what those styling properties mean. First, the width, which is 250 pixels, we give to it. This is the width. The distance from here is the width. Then the height of 150 pixels, this is the height. The distance from here to here, that is the width. Then the background color, which is orange. You can see that's the background color there, orange. Then the padding. Padding means inner space in the box. This is the item in the box. The text here is the item in the box. Alright, that text, this is a box, that's the item inside the box. So the item should give a padding space, inner space from the border of its container. That's what padding means. Then margin means the outside space of the box. That is, let me see the how many margin I gave to it. Alright, I gave it a 30 pixel margin, meaning it should give it 30 pixel outside space from the border. Alright, that's what it means. And let me center the text. This is a box here. Let me center it, so I can come here and say something like text align center. Alright, so it's being pushed to the center here. So the next element, the next CSS property we'll be looking at is the grid, which is one of the most crucial CSS property in web programming. Now let me show you something again. Alright, so this is the HTML elements I want to style in grid. Alright, then this is the container. Then everything here is inside this container, meaning this thing here is containing those persons here. This particular person here is, let me clean this thing, this particular guy here is the parents to these children here. You understand? So I'm going to be styling the children. So let me go to my CSS and I'll be deleting some stuff here because I'll not be using them in this case. And I think I'll give it a padding 20 pixel here, 20 pixel. Then I'll give it a color of white. Now let's first see the outputs. Alright guys, so this is our box here. Now let's display it properly because currently they are not well displayed. Alright, so you're going to use the grid. That is, you're going to style the parents. Now we already styled the children and the children are not being organized, so you are going to style the container so it can contain the children properly. So we use the dots container to get the parent tag. And first I'll indicate this name display. I'll indicate grid, meaning the container should display the children in grid format. Then gap, I'll give it a 20 pixel, meaning those children should give a 20 pixel space from one another. Then the next thing which I'll specify is the grid templates column. Grid templates columns. Then I'll enter 1 fraction, 1 fraction, 1 fraction. What this means is one fraction of the available space for the children. Now let's see the output of what I'm talking about. Alright guys, as you can see, our children is now properly organized. Alright, they are now properly organized because we have styled the container, which is the parent containing them. As you can see, we specify the display grid and the gap 20 pixels, meaning those children should give it 20 pixels space from one another. Alright, that is what it means. Then the box styling has now properly popped out. The padding, which is 20 pixels for the box, it means 20 pixel inner space from the border. Alright, so that's that for grid. Then another important CSS property I want us to look at is the display. In this case, I'll be deleting the container because we don't need it for this particular one. Alright, and I'll go to my CSS2 and erase the container tag, the container styling, because we don't need it in this particular one. Let me use 3 boxes here. I'll give it a margin, that's an outside space of 10 pixels, so they will not look clustered together. Now let's see the output. Alright, so the next thing I want to add the display, and again I will select the tag here, the selector here, the CSS selector here, which is the box that we are styling. Then I'll specify the display. First we have the block. The display is how we want our items to be arranged on the web page. Now let's see this one. Alright, so this is the display box, meaning each item will take up the width on that line by default completely. Alright, then we also have display inline, meaning those boxes should be displayed on one line. Alright guys, so this is what I'm talking about. They should be displayed on one line. Then we also have inline-block. It means the combination of both block display and inline. Alright, assuming we have more than 3 boxes here. Okay, now let me add more boxes here so you see the display for inline-block. Alright, so I've added 3 more blocks. Now let's see the display for inline-block. Alright guys, so this is the display for inline blocks, meaning both inline and block if there is space. Alright, then we have another type of display, which is the none, meaning nothing should display. As you can see, it is empty, nothing should display. That's what it means. Now this display actually is very important when we go deeper into this web programming of a thing. Alright, so just take note of it. Both display and this grid, they are very important, and that is that for display. Then the next CSS property we'll be looking at is the animation. Very important, where we have different types of animation, but then we're looking at just one type of animation here, and how to animate any text, any item, any emoji, whatever on your website. So first I'll need to style our box, because that's what I want to animate here. And first I'll specify the width. Let me see, 30 pixel. Then the height, maybe 30 pixel again. Then I'll indicate the animation, which is very important. Animation. Then the name of the animation. The name I want to give to the animation is, let me just say something like move box. Then the time I want it to animate, I'll say 3 seconds. Then infinite, meaning it should continue animate every 3 seconds and non-stop. Infinite means it should continue to animate forever. That's what it means. Then I'll come here and style the real animation. We use the keyframes keyword for every animation. Then after at keyframes, we enter the name of our animation, which is what I gave it here, move box. Ensure the name matches exactly how you type it here. and if you should type it this way, it is wrong. All right, it is wrong. The browser is case sensitive, and this word here is not the same as this thing here. All right, so I'll enter the name exactly as the animation name, which is the move box. Then I'll open my code block, then type in the animation here. Then next I'll indicate the starting point of our animation. Let me just type it so I could explain it to you later. From Alright guys, so let me quickly explain to you what this means. That from here is the starting point for the animation, then 2 is the ending point. And what this means here, from transform translate X, meaning it should move along the horizontal line. This is horizontal line and this is vertical line. Translate X means it should move along the horizontal line and it should start from point 0. Alright, then the 2 here, which is the ending point for the animation, it should translate still along the X, which is the horizontal axis. This is horizontal axis, and it should move a distance of 300 pixels. All right, that is from a starting point of 0 pixel to a finishing point of 300 pixel, and the duration should be 3 seconds as we indicated here, and this animation should continue forever, which is infinite. All right, let me increase the width of this box to 100 and the height to 100 pixels as well, so it will look visible on our browser. Now let's see the output of what we just typed. All right guys, as you can see, the animation, the box is moving. It's moving 3 seconds and it's infinite, meaning it will continue to move like this forever. All right, that's what it means. And remember, it is just one box here. That's just one box. All right, that's how to type to code to style animation in CSS. There are other types of animation, but then just for now, just make use of this one. Just know how to style this particular one first and understand how animation work for now. Then later, when we go to intermediate and to advanced level, you'll know more about animations. All right, I don't want this video to be long, so this comes to the end of CSS part 2, and our next session will be moving properly to JavaScript. All right, JavaScript, which is what I'll call the real programming, because all these ones we have been doing since is more like construction and designing. All right, we're about to enter the real programming properly, and as usual, I'll be giving you an assignment on what you code. And on this session, I can't think of what to give you for now, but then check the comment section, you see your assignment there. All right, you see assignment there, what to do and all of it. Do it and submit it on our assignment group before our next session, which is JavaScript. All right.